the solar energy center of our existence. Use of fossil energy has caused the climate change, and we have to correct our energy. And that energy can only be solar energy. And when everybody adopts to solar energy, it becomes energy Swaraj. So with my Yatra, I'm trying to spread the message that the best sustainable way to fulfill your energy needs is by adopting to energy Swaraj. And when everybody localizes their generation and consumption, that becomes energy Swaraj. And the purpose of Yatra is to reach out to millions of people, because climate change is a problem of the entire planet and every human being. So therefore it cannot be solved by 1, 10, 100,000 people adopting energy Swaraj. Everybody has to adopt energy Swaraj.
Hello and namaskaram everybody. Today we have with us the solar man of India. So firstly, when I got to know about you, I really felt stupid that कि आप पिछले 10 सालों से काम कर रहे हैं and that I'm only getting to know about your work now. Born in a small village in Madhya Pradesh, then you went on to do engineering, and then you also went on to do PhD in Europe.
Right.
And after coming back, you became a professor in IIT, and then after that you did a lot of research on solar energy. You published a lot of papers, wrote a lot of books, and then around 2010 you started this mission of Swaraj energy.
Actually, I started this in 2020.
Okay.
So it is going to be there for 11 years.
Okay. So, but then I think in 2010 you started that rural.
That education park, one school that I have started,
Okay.
which is running 100% on solar power.
Okay. So yeah, let us start from there. So I heard your TED talk, and you constantly said that ki I wanted to do something for the society.
Mm-hmm.
So where does this come to you? Ki I wanted to do something for.
Well, I come from a small village, and I remember when the school I was studying in, there was only one classroom, and it was a primary school. And within that one classroom, 5 different classes used to sit. When I graduated, when I finished my schooling, 12th, I became the highest educated person from the village. And even at that time, there was no bicycle even in the village. And I used to think, my father actually sent me after 4th standard, to Indore to study, and therefore I could study. But I used to always think, if I can study well, others can also study well. But everybody's parents cannot send them to, Indore and other good cities. So that's why I thought that I got an opportunity to get out and study well. Now, because I'm capable of doing something, I should be doing something for the society. And I think that one single thought somehow remains with me all the time. And that's why my today's Yatra that I'm doing for 11 years is also with the same purpose, is that if I am capable of doing something, if somebody has lots of money, he is capable of giving away the money. If somebody has a good skill, he is capable of giving away the knowledge of the skills. So whatever we are capable of doing, I think it's important to give back, in spirituality we say that it is important to breathe in, but it is also important to breathe out. If you don't breathe out, you will die. So when you take something from the society, it is also important to give something to society. And there has to be balance in that. And only when you keep taking, neither you will be happy, nor the society will be happy. So somehow that is there, maybe because of my parents. And that's why I think like that and I act like that.
So it's very interesting you said that. You feel like to do something for the society. And I have seen this, that a lot of us feel the same thing. We need to do something for the society. But the difference between people like us and you is that action. So lot of times we fail to take action. So what motivated you, ki no, I have to do this. You had a very good job in IIT, but still you thought, somewhere I have to take this up in more.
Well, I think, I don't know what could be the difference, but number one, the feel has to be really in depth and genuine. You know? Number one. Number two, then you need to have skills of going out in the society doing something, because it's not easy. You want to do something, but there are a lot of hurdles. So one has to be mentally strong, of course physically strong, to do things. And but the good thing is, when you do for yourself and suppose you fail, then actually you get affected. But when you do for society, and even if you fail, you try your best and there's nothing to worry about. So the positive side of it is that you are anyway doing for somebody, and what you need to do is not the success of it, but your efforts should be there. And Gita, again, I would like to quote, Karmanyavadhikaraste ma puleshu kadachana. So when we are scared and afraid when we worry about what will happen if I do this, what if it doesn't happen, what if that happens. And Gita says, it's none of your business what happens. Only your business is to do things, isn't it? It's somebody else's business to find out what happens. So when you do that, you will not be scared. And most of the time people feel, if that doesn't happen, what happens? People also cannot take the non-acceptance. Suppose you go and talk to a friend and you present this beautiful idea of energy Swaraj, and your friend says, what a stupid idea, nonsense, get lost, I don't want to talk to you. Does not mean that your idea is bad. Probably you're not presented well. Probably that person is not in the receiving end. Probably his karmas are not like that, his antenna can catch the signal. There can be so many other reasons. So this non-acceptance should be accepted to the person who is contributing and wanting to do social work. If that is there, then everybody is a king. It's a very nice thing that nobody thrones, nobody what do you say, कोई शेर का लायन का अभिषेक नहीं करता कि तुम किंग हो, उसके कर्मों से ही वो किंग होता है, isn't it? तो तुम्हें यदि अंदर से है सोशल वर्क करना है, तुम्हें समाज की सेवा करना है, तो कोई तुम्हें वो पदवी दे, कोई सर्टिफिकेट दे, कोई तुम्हें अप्रिशिएट करे, तब जाके समाज सेवा, ऐसा नहीं है ना. You're doing it because you're doing it, and when you start behaving like that, you are the king, isn't it?
So what is the first step you took, after doing all this research, and you thought, now I have to get on the ground? So a lot of times what happens is we get, bogged up in ourselves कि हमें पता नहीं होता कि actually हम क्या कर सकते हैं. So what is the first step?
So
before
first
that,
of all, you said right, most of people, I feel, they do not know what they want to do. They keep doing in the flow of society, and they are not fully aware. Somehow when I went for my PhD in Europe, I wanted strongly to come back. And as a result of that, I was always counting my days to come back. So the desire was there, from, as you said, from very early, that I really want to do something. So when I come back, I started teaching at IIT Bombay, and I figured out that I'm only teaching very creamy people. Again, I'm not doing the right thing. Again, all my work is really not benefiting society. Even though I'm a professor, but my being professor is not of any use to my village. How does it matter to my village if I'm a professor? So that kind of propelled me to really think and do something. And that is where the small intervention of solar lamp. How do we teach people to make their own solar lamp, repair it, maintain it, so that there is a confidence in technology, so that the cost of doing it also goes down, so that the solar products are available locally. And we did it, and there was a success, and that kind of encouraged me to reach out to more number of people. Initially, we reached out to 20,000 people, then 1 million people, then 7.5 million people. And this is how slowly this idea of energy Swaraj evolved. That ultimately what's our society, modern society, which means not only our country, but the entire world, what is required is energy Swaraj, energy independence. Because this current energy is, causing a lot of problems in terms of climate change, dependency on other countries, inequity in terms of distribution of fuel, etc. So that is how I kind of slowly got into this, and of course, I have been fortunate enough to get a good support from the society, good support from many people who have been helping me financially, emotionally. There are people who have been guiding me, how to do, what to do, not to do. And thanks to everyone that I'm here right now, sitting here and talking to you.
So how did you, like, you wanted to do something for the society, but what attracted to you to solar energy? And
Well, I think what attracted me solar energy, as I said,
Obviously,
I did my
PhD,
master's from in microelectronics, and I was working for a multinational company. But I felt that the job that I was doing is not reaching out to everyone. And that is where the solar energy comes in picture, because everyone receives solar energy. Everyone needs energy. And if everyone can use solar energy, and if I can help them with the technology, with the training, I think that can be a great contribution. So that is why I came to solar energy, this desire to help everyone, and thankfully sun god reaches to everyone.
so tell us a little bit about, we all know that global warming, climate change, but we have different ideas, different understandings of these things. So what is climate change, and what are we doing that it's affecting us?
But climate change, as per the term says, it is a change in our climate, which is made up of our atmosphere, our weather system, and that has changed in the sense that our weather system has changed. The seasons are not same anymore. Their timings are not same anymore, and it is becoming more and more erratic. And the intensity of such a behavior and the frequency of such behavior is increasing. And it is systematically increasing as there is more carbon is being pumped into the atmosphere. As the global warming is increasing, the climate change is accelerating. And it is now slowly not only the change in weather system, but it is becoming a threat to the human existence. And even Dalai Lama quoted once, said that more and more people are now realizing that the existence of humans on this planet is at stake, and only prayer, pranayam, and meditation is not enough. We need to take some action. So it is becoming a threat, and because we are so much into our daily activities, we don't see such a big change. But when you bring attention that our air is polluted, water is polluted, soil is polluted, forests have cut down, every life supporting element itself is in a bad shape, you realize that something major has happened, and we have to really take a note of it immediately, and we all need to take an urgent action. And that's the whole purpose of my 11 years long Energy Swaraj Yatra.
So what are the main causes of for the carbon emissions, like industry or we as human beings?
Everybody, the main cause of carbon emissions is not industry, by the way. It is each individual is causing climate change. Each individual is responsible for emission, because industry produce only when you use it. Suppose we all stop using toothpaste, will the industry produce it? No. Suppose we stop using vehicles, will the industry produce it? No. So industry is not emitting carbon dioxide. Many people blame industry. No, we have to realize it is we individual, because we use all kind of things around us. We use furniture, we use mobile phones, we use tables, we use toothpaste, we use kitchen utensils, we use vehicles, lights, fans, clothes. Everything is responsible for CO2 emission. So not industry, not government. Each user of energy is responsible for CO2 emission.
So if we were to reverse this, like what are obviously the lifestyle has to change, but to happen this on a large scale, what are the things that each individual can do, and also the government at higher level?
Well, what individual can do is follow some very basic fundamental thing, that the size of the planet is fixed. Every resource on the planet is fixed, and our needs have to be fixed. There is absolutely no way you can increase your production and consumption and consume more and take more from Earth, because everything is anyway taken from the Earth. But you cannot stretch and make the Earth bigger. You can't stretch and make more soil on the Earth. So everything is fixed, and therefore all our needs have to be fixed, our energy needs have to be fixed. But with all the modernity and using more gadgets and appliances, we are increasing our energy consumption also. That is not possible. If we increase, we are going to pay the price of it. So first, limit your energy consumption, reduce, avoid. I have made a rule called AMG. A means avoid the use of energy as much as possible. Even if it is solar energy, don't use it. Avoid use of solar energy also. Then if you cannot avoid, next is minimize. Minimize the use of energy as much as possible using efficient appliances. And if you cannot minimize, then only as a last step generate, and generate locally as much as possible. So this AMG rule, avoid, minimize, generate. If you follow this rule, what you will realize that only 1/3 energy needs to be generated, which is very little, and then everybody can switch to solar 100%. Everybody can be independent. Everybody can be Atmanirbhar, and everybody can adopt energy Swaraj. That is the real solution to the climate change. When everybody becomes independent energy generator and user using renewable energy with the local community, then it is energy Swaraj. Then we will be able to solve the climate change problem.
So I'm very curious about your experience with working with rural people. What kind of experiences you had when you did this?
Well, so I have been working with everybody, but my solar lamp program was with the rural people, and I think I would say a lot of my learning that how energy Swaraj should be. In fact, I have written a book called Energy Swaraj.
Give a little brief about that project that you did, because
yeah, I was saying I have written a book about Energy Swaraj, and the subtitle of the book is My Experiments with Solar Truth. How solar should be utilized. This all come from that learning. So it was a solar lamp project where we have trained about 10,000 women to make their solar lamp, repair it and sell it and earn money out of it. And because women did it and they locally maintained it, there was a lot of confidence in technology. And they ended up also starting solar shops and even solar manufacturing unit. So that was a great project, and more than 10,000 women were trained and took part in the whole program. So I also learned a lot of things. But what I also learned from them is that solar is very simple, very easy. It doesn't require very sophisticated skills. Anybody and everybody can learn about solar. Solar can provide independently and fulfill your energy needs. Government, if they use this localization of energy, solar energy particularly, then we solve many problems, including job creation, livelihood, rural economy strengthening, women empowerment, energy independence, energy security, saving foreign exchange, and of course the climate change. So when we change the model of using solar energy, that is buy local for local, we change many things, and we are not going to solve one problem, we are going to solve many, many problems.
So were you able to scale this up in other parts of the country?
Yeah, 10,000 men trained and 7.5 million families bought the lamp, and we did the repair and maintenance. We also started manufacturing it. So I would say that to quite some extent we did is scaling up very well. That was the whole purpose of reaching out to millions of families.
So I feel that the people in rural areas are more sustainable than what we are,
They are.
Yeah. So what we have done is we are over consuming our clothes. We are desertification of soil is happening. We are consuming more and more gadgets, and monoculture, or foods are becoming monoculture. We are only eating certain types of food, and the variety is being lost. So what is your
true. Anybody who lives close to nature is always going to be more sustainable. Anybody who is going to close all the doors and live in air conditions is always going to be unsustainable. So the rural people, the farmers are anyway sustainable because they are, with the soil, with the nature, with the tree. And I think every individual, irrespective of what he or she is, how much they are educated, do not go away from the nature. That is one thing. Because once you start going away from the nature, you can only become more miserable. You may not realize it. You may realize it later. You may have mental problem. But be the part of nature. Live with the nature. Not using the nature, then only we can survive for a long time. So it is always good to be with the nature, and rural people are always with the nature. We, with the modern people, are sending them, different ideas.
So, at the core of the climate change and what we are seeing in the current context, what is the main problem, do you think? Where is the main problem? Of course, the energy and all that is there, but
The main problem is the flawed understanding that the growth, that model that we have chosen, can make us happy. See, ultimately, the only purpose of everything that we do is to become more happier, isn't it? Every act we seek that. But rather than becoming happy, stress is increasing. Nature is degrading. So we are going in opposite direction. Why? Because the model itself is not correct. The model should be how I can be with the nature, close to the nature, and how can I be more satisfying, more smiling, more helpful for people, more loving. That should be the objective and criteria in life. Not that how many cars you own, how many square feet of space that you own. That is always going to be temporary and cannot give the forever happiness. But when we start thinking about others and helping others, then you become happy. So the thing that we seek through the materialistic life will never be there. And it is always that kind of mirage. You will feel that you will get happiness, but you will not get it. It will only give you feeling that you will get it someday. That doesn't happen. And the entire modern progress of last 40 years shows us that, isn't it? Otherwise, with so much of science and technology and growth, everybody should be very happy and smiling and bubbling with energy and joy. Ultimately, we have mobile phones, TV, fridge, washing machine. 50 years ago, nothing was there. And we strive to get this. Now, once you got this, are you happy? No. So this way of life cannot give you what you're looking for. And that is what this is a flawed model, the materialistic model. Cannot be the right model. And India has always been very rich spiritually, culturally. If we would have spent our time and energy in making that aspect of life richer, and if we would have spent our time and energy making nature richer, then I think we would have been much, much better shape.
So when I first heard about you, that we used to hear, Adi Shankara, he walked the length and breadth of the country, and then Swami Vivekananda to raise the consciousness and build the national pride, then Mahatma Gandhi, and now you seem like another man, traveling all throughout the country and raising consciousness of the people to use the renewable source of energy. So how tell us about the energy Swaraj, your journey.
Well, as I said previously, that solar energy is the center of our existence. Use of fossil energy has caused the problem of climate change.
Trying to achieve through this journey of yours?
That's what I'm saying. The solar energy is center of our existence. Use of fossil energy has caused the climate change, and we have to correct our energy. And that energy can only be solar energy. And when everybody adopts to solar energy, it becomes energy Swaraj. So with my Yatra, I'm trying to spread the message that the best sustainable way to fulfill your energy needs is by adopting to energy Swaraj. And when everybody localizes their generation and consumption, that becomes energy Swaraj. And the purpose of Yatra is to reach out to millions of people, because climate change is a problem of the entire planet and every human being. So therefore, it cannot be solved by 1, 10, 100,000 people adopting energy Swaraj. Everybody has to adopt energy Swaraj. And that's what I'm trying to bring this message to the people to adopt energy Swaraj.
Yeah. The other day I also heard you about, talk about the time frame we have.
Well, there's a 1.5 degrees centigrade of global warming is considered as a very important milestone, which we should not achieve. Because beyond 1.5 degrees centigrade of global warming, the change in the climate will start to be irreversible. And for that, the amount of CO2 we can afford to emit is about 270 billion ton. And the rate at which we are emitting, we have only left with 7 to 8 years time, or maybe 10 years time. And that is also running fast, because our rate of emission is increasing. So whatever remaining carbon budget is there, it is becoming shorter and shorter and shorter. So time is ticking out, and we have to all wake up sooner than later and start taking drastic and immediate action to solve the problem of climate change.
Okay. So, any last message you want to say to our listeners?
Well, I mean, come back to the center. We are all spoiled animals of this planet, and we are spoiled to a really great extent. And I keep saying, that like on our body, if we get, some kind of, in Hindi we call foda, what do you say? Some blister, then what we do is we try to remove it, if by the treatment, or we cut it down and we do the surgery and remove it. So we don't want anything which is not good for the body, and similarly nature also doesn't like anything which is not good for the nature. So if you are like that blister, nature is going to throw you out from the system. So don't become that blister, become the flower, so that nature keep yourself with the nature, and then you can survive and sustain human life on this planet. So choice is ours, do not disturb the nature. Nature is very, very powerful, and when nature is going to take its revenge, which it already started taking, no amount of money, no amount of wealth, no amount of insurance, no amount of science and technology will help us to survive. I think that is the ultimate message that I would like to give. Be with the nature, use solar energy. We have been anyway using solar energy by eating food, drinking water and breathing air. What I'm suggesting is run your life, run your lights and fans also on solar energy. That's a small thing that we need to do, so that we all become true part of this nature which we are, and we can live sustainably on this planet. And I keep saying that if we don't do this, we say that once upon a time there were dinosaurs on this planet. They are not there anymore. They have gone because of the climate change. And if we continue to behave like this, some few thousand years later, a new species will appear on this planet, and they will say once upon a time there were humans on this planet. So I hope we will start taking action before it becomes too late. So that's a simple message that I want to give. Thank you very much.
So, one last question I have, leaving all this aside, how has been your personal journey? How has been your personal experience of living?
Well, I am my personal journey. I've been kind of evolving myself, learning many things.
Just to add a layer to this question, I personally feel that once you're spiritual, you naturally tend to become more conscious, and you want to do something for the society. So tell us a little bit about if you have any spiritual practices that you do, or your spirituality and your personal experience.
Yeah, definitely. I think I keep giving an example that a chair has a 4 leg. Normally the modern human beings are trying to grow only 1 leg, that is economic leg. But there are other 3 legs, and which is about the education, which is about the moral side of it, and spiritual side of it. So when all the 4 legs of a chair grows equally, then the person is in balance. And if you grow only 1 layer, obviously you are going to fall. The chair is going to fall. And that's what is happening. And the fact that there is more depression and more violence is only result of that. So do not forget to aid a spiritual growth in your life. And I was fortunate enough that in 2005, I did a course in Art of Living Ashram from Pujya Shri Ravi Shankar ji, and that was amazing experience. And I kept doing more courses and followed the practices, and eventually I myself became the teacher. So I teach yoga and meditation. I teach happiness program of Art of Living. I teach how to breathe and how to be happy. And what I realized over the time is all this teaching is not for somebody else. Every time when you teach, you yourself evolve. And when I'm doing this yatra, I don't think I'm helping somebody, but definitely I'm helping myself to grow in life and see the real picture of the life. So it is great journey. I'm happy, I'm enjoying, I'm learning more and more, and I wish to learn more about myself and about the world, so that we can see the things in right perspective. It is that right perspective is missing out in a big way, and that's why we tend to make mistakes in our short span of life, in our short wisdom, in our unidimensional growth. And I think the multidimensionality of life, the infiniteness of the existence is what has to be appreciated. And then you'll realize that you are a tiny little drop in this ocean, and you're not going to be arrogant against the nature, against the people. And I think that is the ultimate truth of the life.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.